and that form filler tool.
And so this is where she would go to apply as the travel.state.gov.
Yes, so she can fill it in. You can fill it all in, and then you download it as a PDF, and we can print it here, and then have it. So you don't need to worry about trying to find some place to print it. We can do that here. You do have to put everything in there. They've changed some of the laws. Used to be that you could wait and put your social security number in when you got to the place that you were turning in your paperwork. That has changed. If you are typing, everything has to be typed except for your signature. So that has to be in there. And I know that's like kind of scary to have that floating around on a piece of paper. So, and I don't know if maybe that was kind of the problem for the parents over the summer is I want her to fill it out online. So fill out online and print. This is definitely the easiest way. I think you filled this form out with me as a practice for a formal application. So I like to have kids try it out because it is difficult, the things that they ask for and the instructions for it. But yours is done, and you don't need to worry about it. So that's an amazing thing. It is, you have to read that fine print up there and then go through everything that is with a red asterisk. Make sure you have that in there. When you get to occupation, student, okay, student, and then school, Rochester High School, and then you can move on. Occupation is usually hard because kids are like, I don't have one. Your occupation is student right now. McDonald's, yeah. So look at that and be like, So just put student because you'll be doing student travel, which gives you a different type of visa. And I can't really go on from this page. And then you get to the next page. Uh-oh. Yes. You need to know how tall you are. And then you get to the next part, which is where they're going to ask you where they need to send your passport, what your home address is, or your permanent address. I got my first passport when I was leaving for college, so I used my permanent address as my mom's address. So in your case, wherever you want your mail sent. And then you get down here to preferred modes of communication. This is because they're going to track your passport for you and tell you where it's at. We are in an election year, and we always run the risk of things being shut down during those times because everything's kind of weird. So the sooner you apply, the better off we are because it could take 6 months to get your passport back. In good times when we're not in an election year, it takes up to 3 months. I shouldn't say up to, it could take 3 months or slightly more. They say 8 weeks, it's never 8 weeks. It's always more.
Mine actually came 4 weeks.
In 4 weeks? Wow.
My stuff that I sent with it came like 2 weeks later. Like birth certificate and stuff.
Okay.
But yeah.
So they came separate. And did you apply recently for that?
Yeah, because we're going on a cruise too.
Okay.
So we had to have passports for that. And so me and my daughter's passports came first, and then I did his. So his is still pending, but
Pending, yeah. Well, that's good. That is really good to know because students from last year who went to Mexico, theirs took like 12 weeks. I had some kids sitting for 12 weeks, and it wasn't because there was a problem. It was just a backlog. And I don't know if it has to do with age too. Some of them were younger. So that is your tracking communication, and you definitely want to have that available to you. Emails, phone numbers, all that good stuff. And then you go on to the next one. Let me see if I can just populate this with something. And then it'll ask you for your travel plans. For us, the travel plans are leaving in March, so 3/17/25, with a return date of, depending on when our flights are, of 25. And then countries to be visited, Italy and Spain. And then in case of emergency, U.S. likes to make sure that they have a contact for everybody just in case something happens. So please make sure that information is correct. And that really after this, because we have multiple of protection for this trip, which would be, if something happens, it's going to take care of it first, and we'll notify parents. And then, the U.S. will notify if there's something else going on. Have you been issued any of the following before? Most of you are going to say none. And then you can keep up. And then you get into parent information and that stuff. You might need your parents to sit down with you to help type that in. I think I can. We'll just hit unknown. We'll pretend. No spouse. Any other names that you've gone by? If you've had a name change at any point, I'm probably the only person that had a name change recently. And then you can look at the end, and it's going to show you all your stuff. And if that's the way you want it, you move on. You should be able to look at what the fees are here. It'll help you calculate it. Passport book is $130, so it's like $13 a year for the 10 years. It's an investment for you, and it trumps everything you have. If you do the routine, it's free. That's the one that I'm talking about. Like sometimes we wait a long time for it to come back. Standard delivery also is free. You can get that expedited if you really feel like it. A file search is not necessary for you guys. Right here, the 150. But the execution, that is where you have somebody certify that's you. That one is necessary. So that's the one that, like you have somebody who works for the government go, yep, this is all you, and I know that this is true, and then you get to send it out. You do need 2 pictures. You can get your pictures taken here. Like I can take them in front of the whiteboard, but then we still have to send them to be printed. The printing part is the problem. Walgreens and CVS here don't do a great job because they don't like to cut them and they don't check off all the boxes to make sure it's correct. But we can make sure on our end that it fits all the qualifications and send them. And then all they have to do is print and cut. But if you go there to have them done, sometimes they're rough. We did that way.
Walgreens and Walmart, is that what you said?
Walgreens and CVS. If you choose Walmart, the nearest one that prints would be Warsaw or Plymouth. And they do a pretty good job. I did send, for the students that I took the pictures of, I sent them to Plymouth and just ran up there and picked them up.
I did my hair at CVS. It wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad? Okay. He got his done at CVS and they were awful. They handed them to him like they were together.
Yeah, they were all on the same page, but I went up to the courthouse and had his done, and they just cut it out for me.
Okay, because some places won't. So,
Yeah, for the courthouse, well, if you go in person to do it.
and you won't need to go in person because you don't need the person to verify that the parent is the parent. So you do have to send some stuff. Your birth certificate, the original, has to go. And then usually it's one other form of ID that has your picture on it. Did you send two? Or just one?
We had his ID and I think it was just his ID and his picture and his birth certificate.
So the two pictures, an ID, and a birth certificate are what go. They do send them back to you, so it's not like they just looked at it to verify.
That's what I was just gonna ask, how did you get your ID?
And it's been a long time. Like once you have a passport and you just renew it, it's a lot easier. Like you fill out a form and you send your old one back and that's it. Like they don't need to see anything else. So the initial passport that I got was a long time ago. We're talking decades ago. So things have changed and it's sometimes is a little difficult to wrap your head around like all the changes that they've done, but it's a protection because of
If you don't have your old one, I had my old one, but if you don't, they have to apply for lost or stolen.
Lost or stolen. Yeah. So when you send your old one back, what they do is this is magnetic. They just take all the magnetic stuff and they put holes through it so nobody can steal your passport. And then you don't lose any of your stamps or you know. But they do. This is gold. Once you have this thing, you're good to go. You don't need really any other forms. It confuses people sometimes. Like if you hand them this at, say, Kroger's or something when you're trying to buy something, they won't know how to scan it. Mostly because they don't deal with enough passports. But this will trump everything, including your license. So then we can print the form. So you would download and you can save it and then bring it and we'll print it here. And then you just need to do the footwork to go get the other stuff done. All right, do you have questions about the passport part? No? It's just it seems scary because it's like a big deal. But once you have it done, I don't think you want to open it. Once it's done, you're fine. Then it's just a waiting game. All right. Let's talk about fundraising. Okay. So we have the Pacers game. This is